Welcome to this Saints reaction video here on WGS-TV, and it's exactly what it is. Our immediate reactions to today's game against the Cleveland Browns, where the Browns, it is now a final score, have defeated the New Orleans Saints 30-17. And I'll tell you what, right now that score really does not reflect the way that the New Orleans Saints played today. I mean, to lose to a 1-5 football team, they're now 2-5, and the fashion that they did, considering the fact they beat Tampa Bay last week 31-6, I'm like, what in the world is going on? I'm like, hanging my head, in shame, because I just can't believe this has to be one of Drew Brees' worst days ever as a New Orleans Saints quarterback. So let's go ahead, and I have the stats up here. Thanks to Ashley here on Skype. Hey, Ashley, thanks for getting these for me.
That's perfectly fine. It's the only way, because of the situation that you were having, we couldn't actually see it. So right. I was relying on everything coming through the website. But,
all right, well, here are the official stats of the game for the New Orleans Saints. For passing, Drew Brees completed 37 of 56 attempts, 356 yards, 2 touchdowns, and I believe it is a career-high 4 interceptions in one game. Rushing-wise for the Saints, Chris Ivory had 15 carries for 48 yards, with the longest being 8. Julius Jones had 1 carry for 6 yards. Robert Meacham, 1 carry for 2 yards, and Heath Evans, 1 carry for 2 yards. Receiving, Marcus Colston, 10 receptions, 112 yards, 1 touchdown, with a long of 24. Liddell Betts, 8 receptions for 48 yards, with a long of 16. Lance Moore, 5 receptions, 43 yards, with a long of 14. Joey Graham, 4 receptions, 38 yards, with a long of 14. David Thomas, 3 receptions, 33 yards, with 1 touchdown, and a long of 14. Robert Meacham, 2 receptions for 31 yards with a long of 29. Jeremy Shockey, 2 receptions for 30 yards with a long of 19. Devery Henderson, 2 receptions for 20 yards with a long of 20 yards for a long of 23. That means he might have on the other reception, he must have lost yards on that one for that. And Julius Jones, 1 reception for 1 yard, and of course a long of 1. And by my count, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different receivers for Drew Brees in that game. It still didn't help very much. As far as turnovers go, there was quite a few fumbles. Drew Brees fumbled the ball, and he recovered it. And Lance Moore had a fumble and did not recover it. Joey Graham recovered it for, I believe, a loss of 20 yards. And as far as kicking goes, Garrett Hartley for field goals, there was only 1 field goal attempt, and he was 1 for 1 for a long of 32, and he had 2 extra points. And for punting, it was Thomas Morstead with 4 punts, average of 26 yards. 26 yards. 1 punt went down inside the 20 with a long of 56. Kickoff returns, Courtney Roby had 4 returns for an average of 20 yards with a long of 26. Punt returns, Lance Moore had 2 returns with average no yards with a long of 5 yards. Defensively for the Saints, Michael Jenkins had 8 tackles. Jonathan Vilma had no tackles. Will Smith, 4. Jolar Dunbar had 3 tackles. Hold on, I'll take that back. Michael Jenkins had 8 tackles with 1 assisted. Jonathan Vilma had 5 assists. Will Smith, 4 tackles, no assist. Jolar Dunbar, 3 tackles, 1 assist with 1 sack. Danny Clark had 3 tackles with no assist. So did Patrick Robertson. Rami Idale had 2 tackles, 1 assist. Roman Harper, 2 tackles, 1 assist. And Michael Mitchell, I believe that is his name, 2 tackles with 1 assist. Cedric Ellis, 2 tackles, no assist. Darren Sharper, same thing, 2 tackles, no assist. Anthony Hargrove, 1 tackle, no assist. And Usama Young, 1 tackle, no assist. Jonathan Wilkerson, 1 tackle, no assist. Torrance, no tackles, 1 assist. And Charleston, no tackles, 1 assist. As far as the Cleveland Browns go, their numbers, as their quarterback McCoy completed 9 of 16 passes for 74 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. And I believe their running back had a flea flicker play, and he completed that 1 pass for 13 yards. As far as their rushing goes, Hillis was their leading rusher for 16 carries, 69 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 long of 12. Hodges, 1 carry for 68 yards, which is their punter, by the way. It was a trick play, by the way. And Michael Bell, former New Orleans Saint, Michael Bell had 5 carries for -3 yards, with a long of 5. And this guy's name, I am not kidding, his name is Figures. It's Figurs. 1 carry for -4 yards. And McCoy had 5 carries for -5 yards with a long of -1. And you know what? I think I'll just go ahead and just skip the rest of the Cleveland Browns numbers because it's pretty much self-explanatory as to what happened. Scoring summary: Dawson. This happened back in the first quarter. P. Dawson had a 23-yard field goal, and from a drive that resulted in 6 plays and 14 yards in 2 minutes and 43 seconds. And then Hillis had a 4-yard touchdown run. The point after was good. The drive was 4 plays, 56 yards, and 1 minute and 32. In the second quarter, it was Garrett Hartley with a 32-yard field goal from a drive that was 10 plays, 44 yards, and 4 minutes and 21 seconds. And then Dawson counters with a 21-yard field goal from a drive that resulted in 8 plays, 75 yards, 3 minutes, 14 seconds. I think that's D. Bowens had he's on defense. D. Bowens of the Cleveland Browns, 30-yard interception return. Point after was good. There was no scores in the third quarter. In the fourth quarter, we go to David Thomas with an 11-yard touchdown pass and Drew Brees. Point after by Garrett Hartley is good from a drive that resulted in 14 plays, 89 yards, in 8 minutes and 33 seconds. And then we have P. Dawson for the Cleveland Browns with a 48-yard field goal from a drive which resulted in 13 plays, 50 yards, 7 minutes, 34 seconds. Then, again, it is D. Bowens on the defense for Cleveland with another interception, a 64-yard interception return, and the point after it was good. And I do believe the final score of the game, it was Michael Colston catching an 8-yard touchdown pass from Drew Brees. Point after was good from a drive that resulted in 11 plays, 76 yards, and 1 minute and 55. And see here. And that's pretty much it. Now, a lot of people were expecting it to be the other way around. You know, a lot of people were expecting the Saints to blow out the Browns, considering the fact, again, the Browns are a 1-5 football team, but now they're 2-5. So, this is like really a huge disappointment to the New Orleans Saints, to the Who Dat Nation, and to yours truly. So I really don't know what else to say except the Saints just, you know, they played so poorly in this game, considering that last week against the Bucs, they were sharp, they were on target. I mean, they beat the Buccaneers 31-6. So I'm trying to think in the back of my mind, what has happened since last week? I mean, they played so sharply, they were on target, everything was kicking, they were on all cylinders. And now they just, Drew Brees, 4 interceptions. 2 of them go back for touchdowns. Oh, I really don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say. But one thing I do want to address here on this reactions video for today's game of the Saints versus the Cleveland Browns. In the third quarter, there was a punt by the Saints that was going over to Cleveland Browns. Now, during the return, somehow, two players on the Browns knocked Courtney Roby out onto the sideline. into one of the members of what's called the Chain Gang. And if you're not familiar with what the Chain Gang's duties are in the game, they're basically like wherever the ball is spotted, like even it's like if it's on a new first down or if it's like a turnover or something, one guy comes down, he puts that pole right down, and then the other guy has another pole and is connected by a chain, and they go the 10 yards, so that way they know the down and distance to go. That's what their duties are as a chain gang. Now, Courtney Roby was pushed into this member of the chain gang, and play was stopped for quite some time. They had to call the ambulance out for this guy. It was a total accident, and I'm just hoping that he's not hurt too bad. But considering the fact that they had to call out an ambulance and take him out on a stretcher, it's an indication that he's hurt and hurt bad. But we're just hoping that this poor guy recovers. Well, that's going to do it for this reactions video, and this will be a new thing I'm going to start doing too, is posting up reaction videos. And go ahead, Ashley.
I'm just trying to get, if you give me a minute or so, I'm trying to get the results for the Pittsburgh teams that just finished. Pittsburgh, who are the opponents of the Saints next week, beat the Miami Dolphins at Miami by 23 points to 22.
Slim.
That was a pretty. The main action actually happened in the second quarter, where for that quarter alone the points were 17 to 10 in favor of Pittsburgh.
And now, hopefully, I'm going to try to have an interview with Jim Henderson. That's Henderson, not Henson. Rev Jake Henderson of the New Orleans Saints Radio Network this Wednesday. I'll probably do it here on Blog TV via my iPhone. And maybe he can address, what happened in this game. Maybe he can talk about what the Saints have to do to actually get themselves back on track. So hopefully we can get that interview with Mr. Jim Henderson, and hopefully the Saints can turn around next week. And of course, after that Saints game, be sure you look for an immediate reactions video and from yours truly here, Double B Billy Boudreaux, right here on WGS-TV. Well, until next week when the Saints take on the Pittsburgh Steelers, as you just heard Ashley say, Double B Billy Boudreaux. Be sure you tune in again next week after that game for another Saints reactions video from yours truly, Double B. So until then, have a good week, everybody.